Hi, everyone. I did my research on, or my presentation on women's attraction to benevolent sexism and needing relationship security predicts greater attraction to men who endorse benevolent sexism. Um, Benevolent sexism is kind of, it was an interesting topic to me because it was something that I guess you wouldn't associate with modern day attraction and stuff like that because this was more along the lines of something that you would see um, back whenever women didn't work, they stayed at home. Men were the ones that went to work and took care of their families, and the women took care of the kids, etc., etc. And that's why it's theorized to play a role in sustaining that inequality between men and women. And it was because of the romantic tone. So it was basically like the man goes to work, he takes care of you, and you stay at home, and etc. etc. It was it came out of the ambient I can't say it, this sexism theory. It was transformed prior understanding of sexist attitudes and proposed that this type of sexism is needed to counterbalance the interpersonal costs of hostile sexism. So it was basically, um, instead of being violent towards your wife, just be a little bit more understanding, but, don't be too controlling, but still be controlling, I guess, essentially. So knowing this, it's, the question is why do women still, or why are women still attracted to this type of sexism? And mainly because it expresses a romanticized and idealized version of intimacy in which men are obligated to cherish, protect, and provide for women. And it's linked to traditional dating scripts and encourages men to behave in ways that make it seem as though that they are, taking care of the family and that the wife doesn't have to work and she stays at home, takes care of the kids. Um, But the thing is that there's only some women that see benevolent sexism as appealing. So the question was, what kind of women and why? And that's when the authors of this paper wanted to test for attachment anxiety and see how it played a role in the attraction to men who displayed benevolent sexism. And one of the reasons why it's with attachment anxiety is because these women need that constant reassurance that their partners aren't going to leave them and that they're committed to the relationship and stuff like that. And benevolent sexism does help quell some of the insecure reactions that are typical of attachment anxiety. It's been shown that it's more powerful in offering relationship security than commitment because it offers greater permanence of investment, whereas commitment fluctuates with the relative state of the relationship. So basically, when these women believe that essentially that is the man needs her in order to succeed in life, and that's what helps quell some of these insecurities. It's well, he's not going to make it without me. He needs me, and these men feel the same way. It's I need the woman behind me, etc. So the hypothesis in the study was that who were higher in attachment anxiety would rate these benevolently sexist men as relatively more attractive. Women higher in attachment anxiety would rate their ideal partner as holding more benevolently sexist attitudes. And during the analysis, they did control for those who displayed attachment avoidance. It's expected that the gender attraction toward benevolent sexism would be specific to women higher in attachment anxiety because anxiety captures precisely the need for relationship security that benevolent sexism promises in intimate relationships. The first sample was collected via MTurk, and it was a sample size of 204 people. And heterosexual women who were part of the 204. The second sample was collected from college students in undergraduate psychology courses. And although they were all heterosexual, there were single women, married women in the sample. And it was a total sample size of 632 women. They tested for attachment anxiety with the adult attachment questionnaire. They tested for sexist attitudes. They questioned the ideal partner sexist attitudes. They were asked to think about the beliefs that they would want their partner to hold and rated them. And each item was rated according to the ASI to the extent to which their partner would agree or disagree with each item. Like, what kind of partner do you want? What kind of traits do you want them to have, basically? The profiles, it was of three men. One of the men was more of an equal relationship person. The other one was benevolent sexist, and the other one was hostile sexist. And the participants also reported on their ideal preferences for the most central mate characteristics used in evaluating potential partners. The results were that women rated the partner who displayed more equal partnership as significantly more attractive than the other two profiles. They rated men who endorsed benevolent sexism as moderately attractive, but the hostile sexism profile was rated as the least attractive. When they ran the analysis with the attachment anxiety women, the women who rated higher in attachment anxiety, those women actually rated the partner who saw equal benefit in the relationship as less attractive than the one who displayed benevolent sexism characteristics. But none of them rated the one with the hostile sexist profile as more attractive. It just became reversed between the equal profile and the benevolent sexism profile. So you're probably thinking, okay, well, these women, they liked romance and they want to stay at home and stuff like that. In some way, that might be true to an extent, but also not so true, because sometimes, it's like benevolent sexism has shown that women often give up their hopes and dreams and ambitions and stuff like that in favor of the relationship. So they're not being fulfilled. Attachment anxiety was also positively associated with the woman's own endorsement of benevolent sexism, which means that she's going to carry this down to her daughters and her sons and stuff like that. These preferences will likely increase exposure to benevolent sexism, which has been shown to undermine women's competence and ambition. Women who hold such ideals possess less interest in their own educational and professional attainment, and it constrains women's desire and behavior and may risk highly anxious women feeling they need to reciprocate, follow, or accept men's desires and choices rather than their own. So they're kind of giving up their rights and their, like, oh, well, this doesn't seem right, but if he agrees with it, they're going to go along with it. And, of course, current research shows that the greater the attachment anxiety, the greater the woman's own endorsement of benevolent sexism. The other implications were that women's own endorsement of benevolent sexism may also mean that highly anxious women are more susceptible to the costs associated with hostile sexism. And it also has shown that women's own endorsement of benevolent sexism predicts greater endorsement of hostile sexism across time. Strengths and weaknesses. The strengths of this was, it was the first study to demonstrate that the women's need for the relationship security is it's basically why women find men who endorse benevolent sexism attractive, was because of their attachment anxiety. The higher it was, the more they found benevolent sexism attractive. And it also allows for further research and serves as a springboard for that future research. The weaknesses, there were only 3 profiles used, which could have limited the results to attractiveness versus traits. If there were more profiles used, there may have been different results depending on how the men looked. Only women were assessed, which doesn't bring to light why men endorse these behaviors and continue to do so. And live interactions could have provided different results. So if they were in person and the woman was actually able to look at these men and see these behaviors displayed, she may have decided differently. Questions. When you consider chivalry, what do you consider benevolent sexism as part of it? Prior research indicates that benevolent sexism undermines a woman's competence, ambition, and independence. Do you believe that to be correct or incorrect, and why? And do you feel as though benevolent sexism is portrayed in the media as acceptable relationship norms? Why or why not? And that's my presentation. Thank you.